In this video, we're going to look at OpenPoint's user experience to give you an idea of how it looks and how you would interact with the application. Our goals are to make the software easy to use, clearly communicate information, and help you get your work done more effectively. We are also really focused on optimizing the speed of the system so you won't be waiting around for screens to load. All of these screens also work on smartphones and tablets. It will adjust the screen to fit whatever screen size you're working with. The first screen we're going to look at is the job dashboard. Jobs are also known as work orders. We have several of these dashboards throughout OpenPoint, which are designed to give you a high-level view of what's happening and an easy way to navigate to specific records. At the top, we're showing recent jobs. And so this will show any job record that I've previously navigated to. And so, for example, if I click on Replace Poll at 7th and Washington, and then go back to our main dashboard screen here, it will now show up in this first spot, and the other ones will be shifted over to the right. So it's just a really easy way to get back to a job that you've previously looked at or were working with in some way. Right below that is My Jobs. So any job record that's been assigned to you, and there's several ways to assign jobs to different people, those will then show up in this list. And so if there's more than just what can be displayed here, like there is in this example, this blue button will show up, and you can click on that, and it'll show you all the other job records that are assigned to you. Below that, we have workflow progress. Every job has a status which indicates where it is in the overall workflow of the job. And so each of these jobs have a status such as proposed, approved, constructed, etc. And this section here will simply show the count of each of those job statuses. And so I can see quickly here that there are 87 proposed jobs. And now if I click on this button here, I will get a list of just those jobs that are listed as proposed. And then from there, of course, I can click on a record and go right into it. At the top here, we have a search box, and I can just start typing, and it'll automatically perform a search for me even without pressing the enter button or clicking a button. And it's going to look for the word that I entered to be somewhere in the record. For example, it could be in this description like it is here, or it could be in the job number. You can also search by specific fields, and so let's say I wanted to clear out the search for that, and then I want to do a status search. I can click the down arrow, and I can actually pick multiple job statuses if I choose to do that. You can also enter other criteria, and when you're done, you just click on the search button, and those particular jobs will then show up in the list, and you can click on it to continue from there. In the upper left-hand corner, there is the main menu, and it's going to show all the different modules that are available in OpenPoint, and so you just click on one of these options to then go to that particular module. Below that, we have a couple other customizable links, and further below that is the help option. Anytime you see this question mark icon in the system, that means there's a document, help document associated to that. And then at the top, we have a few different icons. The light bulb here is showing us that we are in the electric system currently. And if I want to shift over to the water, I can then click on that, and we're now in the water system. Also notice that these different options here, if I hover over them, they will pop up and describe what they happen to be. Alright, so let's go back into electric here, and I'm going to go into one of these jobs. So we'll go to the Replace Poll at 7th and Washington. And what I wanted to show is some of the ways of interacting with the different controls and some of the validation messages that you get. So first off, I just went into the labor transaction section, and it's got a little guy here popping up saying this job has no active labor transactions. Just a quick and easy way to know that no records have been entered yet. So I do want to enter a record, and so I'm going to go and click on my big orange plus button. And so notice how the screen actually shifted over to the left there, and I'll do that again. So it kind of slides over there. So it's designed to help kind of give you a clear idea of where you're supposed to be directing your focus. And then it's then going to put the cursor inside of the first field there, and if I can type in a value if I want to, or I can use this little picker control, and this will let me do a search by any of the various controls, labor codes that are in the system currently. So I can pick one, or I could start typing, and it'll give me a list. So I can select it that way, or I can enter it. And from here I was going to change the hours. I could type that in if I wanted to, or I could use these little arrow buttons to then select a different hours value. Notice as I'm doing that, it's already recalculating before I even left the cost based on those number of hours. I can also change the rate to overtime, and again it'll change the hourly rate, and immediately it does the updating of the cost. So I'm going to I also want to kind of bring your attention to also as I kind of click on these fields, you'll notice that the labels will highlight in blue, and then the underline will change to a thicker blue line, just as another way of kind of helping you see exactly where you're at. So let's click the Done button, and then so this time I'm going to go and enter in another record. I'm going to do it purely using the keyboard. So I'm going to just do that. I'm hitting Tab between those, and in the end I'm going to hit Enter. And notice that it automatically went to a new blank record, and then also here it starts showing at the top the most recently entered one. So those ones always float to the top so you can easily see what you just entered. Also wanted to show you how the dates controls work. So I'm purposely going to put in a bad date, and it's going to highlight in red the transaction date field is required, enter a date, and format month, day, year. So I can, of course, use the calendar control that's going to pop up here, and I can switch to a different month or year. Just click on a value, and it's going to put in that actual date, or I could have fixed it just by retyping in the number itself. Notice here also that the labor code wasn't entered, so if this was a record I wanted to save, then I'd have to put that in there. Throughout the system, it's very clear about those error messages, so you always know exactly what the system is wanting from you. So let's close that, and now we can save. Okay, so let's now switch over to the Reports section. So I'm going to go to the main menu, click Reports, and what you're seeing here is a card view of all the reports that are available. So every report has one of these cards. So we've got the title and some descriptive information to tell you more about that particular report, as well as tags, and there can be more than one tag per report. If you click on one of those tags, then it's going to do a search just on job in this example, so you see all the job related reports. Below that we have also these little heart icons. When you click on them, they will make those favorites, and so they're just a way of being able to say, here's the reports that I tend to use the most often. So I've clicked on a few of those. If I then go to the top and then select favorites, I'm only just going to see just my favorites appearing in this list here. From there I can also do searches. So if I wanted to search within the my favorited reports there, I can then type in something that's in the description or in the title, and it's going to then find that for me. And if I click the X, it'll clear that out and return me back to the favorited list that we had started with there. So that about wraps up a very quick overview of OpenPoint's look and feel and how you interact with it. In the interest of time, I didn't show everything that was possible, but please do feel free to follow up and we can dive into more details.